Hey everybody, it's Libby with Fearlessness. What's fearlessness? It's that underlying grit that empowers us as entrepreneurs to forge ahead. Even when hope seems distant, it's that courage to walk through the fires of hell, knowing that we're not going to just come out stronger, but better on the other side. Stay tuned and learn how to get fearlessness. I'm your host, Libby DeLucien, and I have a very special guest today. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
I am Chelsey Wood, and I am the owner of Spotless Shine. We have a residential and commercial cleaning company based out of Granbury, Texas, which is near Fort Worth. And our motto is that we hope to add a little shine to your day. We do that by serving humbly, intelligently, nicely, and exceptionally.
Nice. And how long have you been in business?
8 years. This would be our 9th running year.
8 years. Nice. So you made it over the 5-year, statistic that 99%
Yes,
of
I would say
businesses fail.
I would say the first 2 years, I wasn't even really a business. I was just learning the industry and learning how to be a cleaner. And then about the 3rd year mark was when I actually started being the real entrepreneur and really focusing on the business end of things.
So I like that. So like the first 2 years, let's talk about the first 2 years. I think there's a lot to be said in that, right? Like how we start. We just start doing it, start cleaning. So tell me about the first 2 years, and then what was the thing that shifted it to say, you know what, I want to be a business. For those that may be solos out there trying to figure it out.
So I originally started cleaning because I was trying to finish school, and I was working as a Head Start teacher. I had certificates, I had an associate's degree, but I was making $11 an hour.
Wow.
And it was just gruesome because I just wasn't making enough money. I was struggling in school. And so I had a horrible boss. Before we had a great boss, and he was awesome. And then it shifted, and we had a boss who was not a good leader, who was very negative. And after 2 years of her, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can make more money cleaning, and I'm way better at it, and I'll know why I'm doing it and how to do it better, because I went to school to become a science teacher. So I originally started this with the thought of teachers don't make enough money anyways, so this will be my side gig. Well, after 2 years, I finished my degree, my second associate's degree, and then I took a year off to kind of just focus on myself and have a break, because it took me 6 years to get an associate's degree. So I took a year off, and then I re-enrolled to finish my bachelor's program, and I was also pregnant. So I was like 7 months pregnant, and so I re-enrolled for my bachelor's program, and then I had this epiphany that I said, you know what? I think this is the wrong decision. Like, I just had this gut feeling that was eating at me that I was like, I don't think I should pursue this education path. I really think that this business is going to thrive, and that this is the path that I need to put all my ducks and eggs into this basket instead of splitting them. So that was really just that epiphany of, I can become a teacher and make $45,000 a year to start out, or I can become a business owner and pay my staff $45,000 a year starting out. So that was that pivotal shift. And then it really did happen. Within a year later, one of my staff made $48,000, not including tips. And that to me was just like mind blowing, that not only does this business support me, but it supports other families, and not just, minimum wage poverty level. It supports them with actual median income wages. So that was my transition, and just I was like, wow. So
I think it's pretty compelling to hear the story, because they say that statistically we change careers, not jobs, career paths as an adult, like 4 or 5 times or 4 times in your lifetime. And I think that has now upped since COVID because of the job hopping and people changing jobs. But to hear like that you have formal education and that you still decided to go with the route of owning a cleaning company. I think the trades, because we'll consider cleaning a trade. It's a skilled trade. And we don't talk about that much in cleaning, that we're actually a trade because we're skilled labor. that there's so much money and potential in the skilled trades sector versus paying for formal education just for a certificate. I think if you want to be a doctor or a lawyer and you know exactly what you want to do, I just had this conversation with my 16-year-old last night. I told him to clean his room. And he's like, but I have to do my homework. You want me to go to college, right? And I'm like, I don't care what you do. I'm like, he's like, you don't
room clean.
I'm like, I don't care what you do, if you go to college or not. He's like, Mom, I said, sweetie, you're not going to just go and come out with debt.
I'm trying to convince my oldest daughter, who is 17, she wants to go to school for marketing and online web design. And I'm like, you don't have to go to school for that, honey. Like,
she could intern with somebody for
I'm
that.
trying to convince her, but she is just like dead set with, grandma says that I need to go to school for this. And I'm like, no, honey, you don't, because you're going to make the same amount of money as you would with all this debt, as you would just coming in and experiencing it and learning it. So
she just needs to intern. I can hook her up with Drew from Larison Media, owns a marketing company, actually does a lot of marketing in residential cleaning and lawn care industries. I just got off the phone with him before we started filming this. I'm like,
nice.
It's
I
great.
would love to get that so she can at least have those opportunities and those resources available to her.
Yeah, and I think school is great for some people, but I don't think that as the norm, they go to public school and public school pushes them to go to college. I think like I'm super close with Roger Wakefield, and he's huge in the trades. He's more in the high skilled labor where it's plumbers and welders.
Mm-hmm.
But the amount of money that kids can make is probably the same or more if they would consider skilled labor options or even interning options where, okay, I might have to work for free, but I'm learning for free versus maybe I'm going to go to college and pay to go. I've taught my son, he doesn't own. Well, actually he owns his own little marketing company that he does marketing now for organizing all the locations and 2 other cleaning companies.
Nice.
And it was solely taught by me teaching him how to do it for Organize It. And then he fell in love with it and has now since he teaches himself, keeps himself up on all the newest software and AI and technology. But I love this topic of you went to school and you still chose to go with a cleaning company. Don't you love it when you introduce yourself and they're like, what do you do? Oh, I own a cleaning company. And they're like, really?
So we don't call our cleaners, just cleaners. And maid is a dirty word in our company.
It's a dirty word.
It is a dirty word. So what I have come up with, and it took me quite a while to come up with this, but the last conference I went to, there's like, oh, so you have maids. And I'm like, no. We have cleaning professionals, but we do provide maid service, but we're not maids, but we were made to shine. So that's kind of my little comeback is we're not maids, but we were made to shine. And it's just like me. Like I went to school to be a science teacher. Cleaning is absolutely science. So I don't teach, 7th graders science. I teach adults and I teach homeowners, proper cleaning methods, proper chemical dilution, pH balancing, different types of materials, the Mohn scale of hardiness. Like that's my favorite one of what things will scratch certain surfaces, and just that kind of thing. I educated a builder the other week, and I was like, no, don't do it that way. Do it this way so that you don't scratch the surface. And so, of course, he didn't listen, but.
But I love that. Like, you're not just teaching 7th grader science, you're teaching adults how to clean. And cleaning is a science. And we know that now from COVID has taught us that cleaning isn't just about aesthetics. Cleaning is so much more than it just looking clean. One of the things
business took off after COVID. I mean, we fought hard to stay open. We fought hard to regain because, half of our clients canceled, but then we got every single one except for one client back. And then we doubled by May, we had doubled our services. And then it became the challenge of, okay, I've mastered how to clean and I've mastered how to market, but now I have to master how to lead people and improve systems. And that was when I joined the CBF program, was right after COVID happened, and really started. And we're still working on those systems because everybody wants to be complacent and they want to do it their way once they're in. And it's like, hey guys, we're a team. We are a company. We have these processes and these things for a reason. And then today I had to tell a cleaner, hey, instead of telling a client what they should do, soft skills, you need to suggest to them what they might want to do. Say, I would suggest, or you might want to, instead of telling them they should do this.
Should. Exactly.
Because she's very blunt. And so I was like, ooh, I saw that little message through our House Call Pro app because we see what they say to the clients. And I was like, oh, that's going to come across.
What happens when employees behave badly? Boy, we could do an entire TV show, maybe a Netflix special on that. Well, Ryan and I sat down and recorded episodes for FAMA, and we asked practitioners, give us your most outrageous story. The sales leader that brings cocaine to work, whatever. Just bring us the outrageous, and it is funny. So if you need a laugh, which we all do from time to time, search for Workplace Misconduct wherever you get your podcast, and you'll find it. And trust me, you will laugh and cry, but you'll definitely laugh. All right. Thank you.
Cross a little bit too rough. Let's tone it down a little bit.
Yeah, and if they take your suggestion and it doesn't work out, because you told them to do it and it doesn't work out, or they don't like it, they're going to blame you, versus a suggestion, they're going to decide whether they want to do it or not. That's the same rule applies with coaching. So if you're like business coaching or mentoring or a life coach, or even with professional organizing, I cannot tell, when I was organizing the field, someone what to get rid of. I cannot tell you that's outdated or you should throw that away, because if they do and they regret it, then that emotion is tied back to the company.
Exactly.
And back to me. I can only make suggestions and ask questions for them to think on another level. And I think that is a great, topic, because so many of us business owners, we don't teach soft skills. Like I realized in WootRecruit, so, I own a cleaning company, but I also own WootRecruit. Cleaning company, we had pretty good soft skills, but WootRecruit is more of a techie company. And I realized like all of our staff is super techie and they lack soft skills. And so we do soft skills training. We were doing it every week. And then now we moved it back to biweekly. And then we're going to move it back to monthly. Because they were super fast and efficient to fix something, but it didn't relate to our customers because it was too techie. It was too technical. And in business, it's interesting because I have to work on my soft skills.
I do too. So I've definitely learned how to work on my soft skills, and, being that business professional, you go, oh, I can't say what I really want to say to you.
No, I have to work on my soft skills.
It down just a little bit. And that way, you still come across as a professional. And I think having our cleaners titled cleaning professionals helps them embody that persona of, no, we're not just cleaners, we're not just this low tier entry level worker. Like we actually, and I tell them, like, you guys know what you're doing, you know why you're doing it, and you know how to do it. I said, so that is what I want y'all to understand and, relay that to those clients. And then not every client's the right client. If they treat you poorly and, you feel like they're treating you less than, then we'll get rid of them, So I'd rather keep the cleaners who make me more money than a client who belittles them, because again, we know that a cleaner can provide more value than one particular client can.
Yes. So, and it's always the cleaner's fault.
Always.
When something happens, always the cleaner's fault. Like, I don't care if something goes missing, if the house smells like pot, like if there's oil on the driveway, like I could just keep going.
Oh yeah.
It's always the cleaner's fault.
Yep.
It's pretty amusing. And we have great retention at Organize It. But the other day, it was pretty funny. Our cleaners got accused of, someone said your cleaner was smoking weed in my house. And then that's when Libby gets involved. I barely get involved. And the cleaner was so upset because she's 7 months pregnant.
It's your college son that came home.
Well, that's what happened.
That has happened for us too. So we know.
This cleaner was 7 months pregnant and she was crying to my my ops manager that it wasn't her. She's like, I'm pregnant. Like, I can't believe the lady. She goes, if I wanted to smoke pot, why would I do it in her house? She's like, I have my own house. She goes, but I'm pregnant. Like, I would never do that. Like,
anyways, like, oh gosh.
and come to find out, it was one of the kids is in the house, sneaking around because mom wasn't there.
Yep.
Dad was traveling, and what better than to blame it on the cleaning tech? I said, we get blamed for everything. Like, it doesn't matter.
Had somebody misplaced passports, and I had sent a Hispanic cleaner, and automatically, well, they took my passports, and I'm like, they're legal. They wouldn't take your passports. Like, you know, they are a authorized person to be here. They don't need your passports, I promise you.
Yeah. So if you are a house cleaning customer and you're listening, it's always the cleaner's fault, but it's typically not the cleaner's fault because they would know, like, they're going to get caught if they're doing something. There's camera. Even the cleaning tech that got accused of smoking the weed in someone's house, she goes, Miss Lisa, because Lisa is the one who's handling it. She goes, tell her to check the camera. She has cameras everywhere.
Yeah. So we have clients, I tell my cleaners, I said, the biggest thing that will get you in trouble is your mouth. I said, I've gotten myself in trouble with my mouth. I said, because not only do clients have cameras in the house, they have speaker boxes in the house and they are listening. I said, you have to watch your mouth. You cannot speak illy of the client. You cannot give your opinion of the house and its judgment, because if you do while you're in that customer's home, they're going to know.
Yeah. And the other part, Chelsey, is we're paying our cleaning technicians over $40,000, $50,000 a year, right? That isn't minimum wage. Mm-mm. They don't actually need to steal.
No, they don't.
Like, most of my cleaners drive nicer cars than I got. And mainly because
I had a renovation subcontractor or contractor. He goes, how much do you pay your girls? And I was like, $20 an hour about. And he was like, they all drive nice cars. And I'm like, well, yeah, because they get paid well and they got to get to and from their jobs. Like, I need them to be reliable.
Yes. So, I mean, I think it's funny, like, the topic, like, you coming from that formal education background to choosing to go into cleaning, to encouraging your child, saying like, hey, maybe you don't need to go that route. Maybe you can go this route. There's other ways. And then going from seeing all that then to, I think the stereotype that trades, whether you're a cleaning technician or you cut lawns, the trades get put into. Even in lawn care, I hear my friends say, oh, the sprinkler broke and they're going to blame it on the lawn care company, or something happened and oil in the driveway, it's their fault. We still get some of those stereotypes. And I love how you then kind of flip it with your staff to say, you're not a maid, you are made to shine. Mm-hmm. We do the same thing. We call our cleaners, we call them technicians.
Yes.
They're techs. That's the short term, they're technicians. Because if they're at a restaurant and it's Saturday night, they're at a club or a bar and they meet somebody, I want them to be proud of what they call themselves. Mm-hmm. And not say, oh, I'm a maid, or, oh, I'm a cleaner. No, you're a technician. You're highly skilled trades.
So another thing that a client actually told us is that cleaning is an art. And so all of our cleaners are also artists. So we have different ones with different artistic skills. Like, I can do metals all day left and right and get them, I've done some brass metals, copper metals, getting the patina right. It's hard, but it takes, practice to get it right. And then I have another cleaner who's fantastic at glass. I leave streaks. She gets it streak free. And I'm over here cussing at doing touch-ups on a piece of glass on a post-construction. I'm like, why am I doing this? She needs to be the one here. She does this better.
Yeah. So. And they are. We've had customers say to us that our cleaning technicians are, it's like watching a symphony. Because they all have intentionality to their movement. And I was like, oh, wow, like that's a really good explanation of our cleaning techs. So, I think that it's great. So anyone that's listening, going through what you went through, like paying for education, getting a few certificates, even having your daughter, consider that, if anybody's questioning, should they go back to school, or if they're doing a side gig right now, like, how did you talk yourself through that? Like, what are some suggestions that you could give others?
So I would suggest, schooling's not always the best option, but always invest in yourself. So just like how you do, you invest in learning. You can go to conferences, get mentorship, get business coaching. That is the equivalent to going to school. You are learning how to better your skills. And your business is your grade, not, your grade you're going to get. How your business is doing, how your business is thriving, that's going to tell you how much you have retained from learning that knowledge and that information. So, every year I go to different conferences and I do the coaching programs. My grandma's like, that's a waste of money. And I'm like, but the business is growing. And now she's starting to see, she's going, oh, because I could take 4 days off and the company isn't going to crash without me. Like when I went to Arizona, this was the first time. My goal is to go a whole week, but I went 4 days. And I only had to have contact with my manager, who we call her a Shine Success Coordinator, because she coordinates things. And then our top tier cleaners, they're detail specialists. So they know that above and beyond, they pay attention to those details. They can lead a team. They can do quality checks. And then that was another thing, is just giving them that position and trusting them to do it. And then instead of me going and doing quality checks, I send them. I say, hey, you're in the neighborhood. Can you go do a quality check on so-and-so's house? Okay, great. They gave me the feedback, but then I took it another step further. I said, okay, now you're going to go do another quality check before they finish at the next house. And then you're going to give them feedback from, what you had to correct at the first house, but then you're going to make them correct their things at the second house. And just give them that constructive criticism. And that's one of the big things that we're big on is, we're not criticizing you because you're not doing good. We're going to give you constructive criticism so you can do better. And that has really just made a big difference in not only our company culture, but our retention rate too, because they feel empowered, and like I said, we're trusting them to do their job, but also trusting them to lead others. And that has been just pivotal.
Well, you know what they say is the true sign of a leader, right? Is the ability to create other leaders.
Yes. So I would say I've read John Maxwell's book, 21 Laws of Leadership, and just like that law of the lid, like you can only do so much by yourself, but you add others and then you grow.
Yes.
And that one was just like, I'm like, okay, now I'm getting this, like I'm trying to learn everything, but I'm not getting anywhere. Oh, let's teach others how to do this,
Yes.
so.
And it's not even just teach others. It's let's let
Give
go
them
of
the
control.
resources. Yeah, and give them the
we
resources.
have to let go of control first.
I agree. So I have to minimize my micromanaging skills just a little bit, and just kind of like, or turn my phone off and ignore them. If they have a question, sometimes I just don't, I'm learning to not put out all of the fires. And most of the time they will figure out what they need to do. So it's been a challenge, but it's working. So
Yes. And so I love that, the micromanaging part and the putting out fires. Because I always say, and I was so guilty of this, the organizer side of me was like, I'm the only one that can do this and no one can do it better than me. But I was my own bottleneck. I was my own problem. And then I had to learn to give up control. But then if I didn't know how to do something, I would then retreat back to like, oh, well, I'm just going to go make some cute binders and organize them because I'm comfortable with that. Right? It's easy. I know how to do it. Instead of saying like, I may not know how to do this, but I'm going to lean into my team and see if they can help me figure it out. See if I can empower them to find the resource, versus kind of just going back to that comfort level of only knowing what I know. But I love the fact that you had said ignoring the text. And I know that feels to our listeners like mean or like, oh my God, how could you ignore them? But what we mean by ignoring the text is you cannot always be the source of all truth or all answers, because then we're not giving our team the ability to think freely and independently. So if you're ever asking yourself, like, why they keep asking the same questions? Well, because you keep answering them.
Yeah, you keep holding their hand through it, and they're never going to learn it on their own, because if you let them learn it on their own, they're going to go, oh, I had to put effort into this. So instead of the quick, oh, let me do this, let me do this. So I had told
Yes.
a cashier at HEB, he kept giving his other aisle all of the produce codes. And I'm like, if you let him look it up, I said, he's going to retain those a lot faster, because he's not only going to have to read it, but he's going to have to go through that pain of learning it versus relying on you to do it for him. So
Absolutely. Yeah. And then, going back to that, what is the worst thing? What's the worst thing that's going to happen if you just kind of let it burn?
most of the time, nothing. Like,
Nothing.
yeah, most of the time, nothing happens. They may get frustrated. And I have one cleaner who asks me questions 1,000 times a day. I literally have her on silent, because I've told her several times, setting those boundaries is hard. I've told her from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m., you need to reach out to our manager. After 1 p.m. to 7 p.m., you can reach out to me. But after 7 p.m., please don't message me. And so now I've literally, because she doesn't follow those boundaries, I just have all of her notifications silent. So if she calls me, I don't get it. If she texts me, I don't get it. Like, I'm not blocking her, but I have it on silent so that and then I decide, is this worth answering or not? Or is she going to figure it out? Or remember, hey, here's the process of what we're supposed to do, and reach out to the other resources. Because we have our Shine Success Coordinator, and we have the other cleaners who they can help, with questions or issues. So
Yeah, I love that. And, Chelsey has an advantage because her last name is Shine.
that's not actually my last name.
Oh, okay.
So,
Well, that's on the end of everything.
yes. So here's a funny story. I'm actually going through a divorce. And so my name is Chelsey Wood, but a while back, my Facebook had gotten hacked and I had to create a new one. And the primary thing that I use Facebook for is for marketing, getting people relationships. And so I said, if my last name, is Shine, people are going to recognize it better. And then here's the most comical thing ever that my lawyer just loved. So I never knew my dad. My original last name is Stone. I've never known him, could care less to ever meet him. And so with my divorce, I said, can I actually get my alias name as my last name? Because I want to choose that, because I'm married to my business anyway.
So are you changing your last name to Shine?
I'm requesting it to go back to change my last name officially to Shine, because I don't know if I'll get married again. That's far-fetched. And if I do, then I don't know if I'll change my name. So
I was like, well, that's not fair. Her last name is Shine.
nope. So that's kind of my running joke, is I'm married to the business. So I'm changing my last name.
It was funny because for the longest time, my real name is not Libby.
Yes.
It's
I
not.
think that's kind of where I got it from, was from following you and then going, oh.
And for the longest time, my last name was not DeLucien. And now it is my husband's last name, but my real name is Barbara Elizabeth Garcia. I did recently hyphenate my last name. So now it's Garcia DeLucien, which was a mistake because it's a hassle.
It's long.
When you're flying and it's long. And did they put the hyphen? Is there a space between the hyphen? Because then they can't find my reservation. And so Libby has always been my nickname. So I went by Libby DeLucien for the longest time, and it's nowhere on my name as a legal name. I call it my stage name.
Yeah.
It's your stage name. And Libby's just my nickname. I've had it since I was a kid growing up. I didn't give it to myself, but it's not my real name. So it's funny because, I do things and they're like, "Hello, Libby DeLucien." And they're like, "We don't have that. We don't have anybody by that name." And
yeah,
it's me. Yes.
So my coach, Coach Iram from, she does House Call Pro and is a Conquer coach. And she's also in Dallas Women Professionals. But
I know her.
I've followed her for years since I joined House Call Pro. And that was literally my first introduction into like business development, was through House Call Pro. And I was amazed at how much a software company gives back to grow their business leaders, because, when they grow, we grow, they grow. And I've, she's been my mentor for years, but then I went to the conference in January and I was like, okay, got to get back in coaching because I'm getting too trapped in being in the business and not working on the business. So she's got my name hyphenated with wood hyphens shine.
Yes, that's awesome. I love that. So, I mean, it's great because you can rewrite anything you want, right? You can rewrite your past, you can write your future. And as far as like our names, yeah, I just stuck with Libby DeLucien because honestly, I liked it. I'm the only Libby DeLucien in the world now because there's no one with that name. It was really easy to get the URLs.
Nice.
But I like how you use shine to really lean into your business, and it's memorable because people can remember your company, then remember your name, and they associate you with the business. So that was a good move.
One of the things that we recently did last year, so we had our values and our mission statement, but then I was like, you know what? Our motto has always been, we hope to add shine to your day. How can we accommodate this to literally have that anagram of shine? So it's serve, humbly, intelligently, nicely, exceptionally. So that way it's easier for the cleaners to remember what our mission statement and values are. And then I got this from a Howard Partridge coaching conference. He did the DISC training and he had bracelets, that said, what personality you were. Well, again, we want to add shine to your day. So I started creating these and they say, I shine because, and then you fill in the blank. So we give these out to all of the kids, the teenagers, even adults, and then they actually glow in the dark. So that was a thing that my t-shirt gal, who does all my branding for me, she's like, I can get ones that glow in the dark. I'm like, that is perfect. And it's just so empowering because we have a mental health crisis. And when I created these, we had like 2 suicides back to back in the high schools. And it was 2 different high schools. It was the regular high school and then a private Christian high school. So it's like, it doesn't matter, which, schools you're going to, it's still affecting them the same. So I wanted to promote positivity, positive self-image, give purpose to these kids. And it just goes perfectly with our business. And then adapting the mission values and statements to that, it's flowing so good. And I'm like, this is going to kick off. So
that's amazing.
So yeah,
it's amazing owning a business and how we can, make an impact in our community, no matter how big or small the business is or the impact. So that's great. So before we wrap up, Chelsey, what's the advice you would give anybody who's just starting out?
I would say, definitely ask questions. No question is too dumb. So I started by asking my clients questions. I started by asking, well, what do you do? How do you make your money? If you, can afford these services, what do you do? What would you suggest? Some of my clients are actually, they're business owners and they're my mentors. And then also, I posted this on my Facebook is, winners are people who are not afraid to lose. So you are going to fail. You're going to hit, some bumpy courses. You're going to hit rough waters, but, push through those because you're going to have your bad moments. But then, through all of those bad moments, you're going to learn lessons. So always, take those bad moments as expensive experiences.
I love that.
I call them expensive experiences. So
I love that. So, and to end on this, there's no losing. There's only winning or learning, right? And so guys, that is a wrap into the heart of fearlessness. Remember, every step we take is a move towards our own strengths and courage. Keep walking through those fires because on the other side of it lies a version of ourselves that's unstoppable. I'm Libby, reminding you to embrace your fearlessness. Until next time, stay brave, stay bold, and keep pushing forward.